Everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a great video for you today. Yes, I had to come up and talk about the P. Diddy case because I read the whole 14-page indictment. I read a bunch of the other stuff in the investigation itself, and there's a lot of questions I have, and I'm sure there's questions you have. And if not, I'm a little bit worried. Here's why. I think we're on a very slippery slope to be a banana republic. And when I say that, you think, oh, wow, I'm going to probably get canceled on this. And I mean that, and I know that. And you know what? What it is, it is. And I am going to go over this because nobody's talking about it. Everybody is sensationalizing everything to do with this case. They're sensationalizing 1,000 bottles of oil. They're sensationalizing the now 700 something sex toys. They're sensationalizing this prostitution and the indictment itself, and I don't like it. I'll tell you the truth. I really am nervous because as a man who spent time in federal prison, and I was also charged with the RICO Act, I was charged with armed robbery, that was my predicate act. The case here is a little bit confusing. And again, please, I'm going to probably, I know it because I'm going to come out for a few things that a lot of people are vilifying Diddy for. And listen, I have no skin in this game. Zero. I am not for him. I am not against him. I am for you. I am for the people out there who are doing whatever they're doing and they don't want the government to bother. Everybody knows I'm a libertarian. What is a libertarian? A person means get out of my business. I am not a Republican with their money. I'm not a Democrat with their money. I don't like what they're doing to Diddy. I don't like what they did to Donald Trump. I really don't. And I said that verbally. Now, I'm going to go over a few things. First of all, a lot of people hear this. They say, oh, Larry, I hear that, there's kids involved. That pisses me off. And I'll tell you what, there's no charge of it. There is not one charge of Diddy being accused of having sex or even knowing of having sex with a kid. And that's important to me because if there was, I'd have a lot of questions of doing any video. But I'm going to bring up a video now of why I don't even think there's sex, and even in the tapes, because there's a book that came out about his wife that passed. Now, they had experts on a lot of various TV saying, hey, listen, Diddy, now is there foul play at play? The kids came out with a letter saying no foul play. The autopsy, even the experts in autopsy said there's no foul play, but this book is coming out. And what the guy who was interviewed by Law and Crime said when he said he saw the tapes from trusted people. I want you guys to hear this. And I think it's amazing that they're going to let that happen. So listen to this and you'll understand what I mean, people. And that is what you're going to hear right now. So check this out.
With all due respect, why wouldn't they bring that information to law enforcement? Why wouldn't they just drop it in, CNN's or ABC or any other news outlets' mailbox? Why come to you as opposed to law enforcement or another media organization?
If one of the people are underage in the sex tape, I have to, per my attorney, go to the FBI. I'm not going to.
Now, I only had to say that because think about what he just said. If you guys think about what he just said, that he had to come to the FBI about that case, right? That's what he is saying. And I get that. I hope that's the case. If somebody did see anything to do with a child, everybody knows I protect young people and elderly. And if there's none of that, we're all consenting adults. P. Diddy's case itself is saying, hey, wait, everybody agreed to this. Now, whatever your sexual preference, if you want to call it, whatever your sexual thing is, that's none of my business, as long as it has nothing to do with kids. Now, here's a guy who's seen tapes, supposedly, but he's seen tapes, and he is not saying anything about Diddy and his case. Not one thing is he saying. So with that said, I look at it, I say, wait a minute. Okay, let's look at the Diddy indictment, okay? And let's check this out. And I think this is important. So now, Diddy's indictment is for three things. People say, well, Larry, what's going on? There's three things that Diddy's case has, right? Now, I'm not going to go into all the specifics of it because I don't know if you know, but there's only three charges. There's a RICO charge, and we're going to get into the RICO charge, and then there's a sex trafficking charge, and then there's a transportation of people for prostitution charge. Three. A bunch of people said to me, Larry, but he had a gun. There were three guns found in his house, and one was even altered and had the serial numbers altered. I get it. If that is the exact true and the government knew exactly that it was Diddy's guns or who did that, he would be charged with a gun charge, and that's in a 924. And I can tell you right, or 922, Diddy would be the worst charge here. A federal firearms charge with taking serial numbers off a gun. They sensationalized that. Now, they're talking about a lot of drugs, that he gave drugs out. I don't see one drug charge against Diddy. Now, what worries me, people, is there could be what they call a superseding indictment. That means the government can indict you and then come in with new charges later and supersede the prior charges that they did. So now you have more charges and more people. And they will do that because they don't want people to get scared and run, or they'll do it because they got more information after the original indictment comes out. The original 14-page indictment, I went over with a fine-tooth comb. And if anybody knows me, I did the federal law for 10 years. 10 years in federal prison, and I did the law. I was in there for a long time, and for 10 years. And I am a licensed paralegal. I can't be a lawyer, but I've done 10 years of the federal law. So I totally understand how this can all work. So that's number one. So now here is my problem right now with this indictment. And here it is. You take Diddy's case, and everything in his Diddy case, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, they're what they call predicate acts. To get a RICO, which is racketeering, influence, corrupt, organized crime. This is literally what it is. And what happens in the RICO Act is you have to have what they call two predicate acts. That means you have to have a drug deal or armed robbery, like in my case, and it interferes with interstate commerce. That is the main thing with the Diddy case as well. Now, going through the whole case, it has stuff in here that's just sensationalized. It got the media crazy. It got all these YouTubers crazy. And I don't see YouTubers coming out saying, stop, wait a minute. If everything in this indictment, first of all, why didn't you do drugs? Why didn't you do the gun? Why is it even in? Why are you explaining to me about 1,000 bottles of oil? Is that to say, well, we knew he had sex parties? So what? Is a sex party against the law? Show me the actual statute that says a sex party is against the law. And, you know, they're vilifying people who went to these parties. Wrong. I wish I went to these parties. What is wrong with these parties? Now, mind you, if women were beaten, coerced, and when they say coerced, that's a very touchy word, drugged, like the Bill Cosby case, and he's out, or the Bill Cosby case, it's hard to say that. You have right now, this whole lawsuit this whole criminal case came from the lawsuits from the producer, and that's totally fishy. He's on a boat with Cuba Gooding, and they said he touched his leg. I don't care what they did their own sex-wise. He's a man. He said no, nothing else was done. Come on, are we really at that point in life? Now, as for the women, coerced by a job, coerced by a money, coerced by a career move. Absolutely. Listen, you name me the billionaire who owns a company that doesn't, one, want loyalty, two, doesn't want you to be loyal to him. I took Combs out of this indictment in certain parts, and I put other figures. And when I put another figure, and it could have been Biden or Trump or a lot of people, and I even put it in with other billionaires, I don't see where it's different. You expect loyalty. You want your people to live. David says, oh, well, he wanted his people to live in these houses. Do you know if you're a police officer, you can't work in a certain department unless you live in that city? Isn't that telling you where to live if you want that job? Everything in this indictment I've seen can be fought, and I don't see it. People said, but Larry, 7 people now came forward. That was because of a New York law that came out in 2022 to 2023 that opened the floodgates for people to file suit without a statute of limitations on a sex case. How many lawyers, shady lawyers, let's call them what they are, say, wait a minute, you were at the Diddy party, you had sex with Diddy? Yeah? Let's file that they coerced you. Let's do all of this. He's going to settle. He settled for $30 million. He is a billionaire. And sadly, they're going after him because he's a billionaire, which makes me really pissed. Listen, they shouldn't go after anybody for this if it's consensual. Now, you have enough people that come say it's not consensual. Well, you better have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Not a federal come and intimidate somebody. Hey, you followed suit now. That means you lied in court. And now you better prove it, because if you don't, or you better say this. Listen, guys, I know how the feds work. I was in them for so long. I read more indictments. I read more informations than you can count. And I read them, and I see it right here. P. Diddy wants his day in court, and I hope he gets it. As far as testifying, you don't normally do that, and I get why, and you open yourself up to so many things. So I don't think he has to if he has his attorney do this right, and he has a legitimate jury. Here's what hurts and bothers me. If P. Diddy goes to trial, how many people are going to be swayed by what they saw in the news? I'm doing this video because there's so many people out there just vilifying every little thing that Diddy has done. I want them to take a look at themselves in a mirror and see what freak they have, or see what they've done in their life, see where they are. And I think every very wealthy person, mega wealthy person, should be very scared. This is showing that when the government wants you, and if you like certain stuff, you like drugs, you like a party, you like sex, you like this, there is nothing illegal to have orgies, to have threesomes, to have even filming the sex in his own house. They talk about coerced threats. I have not seen one person come forward and say, hey, listen, he threatened me with this video that he's going to expose it if I don't say what I want. What are you going to have, a bunch of guards and people who are right now? There is one guard who actually said, man, I want to get paid on this. I put the phone up to the door, listening to P. Diddy and Meek Mill having sex, and I taped it. Why am I not getting paid? What does it have to do if P. Diddy and Meek Mill have sex? Everybody is up in arms. Now, the media is all this liberal people saying they agree with the LGBTQ. All of a sudden, they're not. Now it's vilifying this guy for what he's done. And I believe me, when I talk about this case with friends, and I talk about this case with lawyers, I'm going to have a lawyer on in a couple of weeks, and we're going to discuss this case in depth, and a good criminal defense attorney. And I want the other side talked about. When you charge someone with RICO, it's really encompassing. And when you get with RICO, see, originally, the RICO was made for what? We know what the RICO was made for, guys. The RICO was made for, and I'll show you exactly what the RICO was made for. The RICO was made for, in the conduct of such enterprise affairs through a pattern of racket. This is from Congress. Racketeering Influence Corruption Act was passed by Congress with the declared purpose of seeking to eradicate organized crime in the United States. That was 1970, people. 1970, they want to eradicate organized crime in the United States, right here. The racketeering. Listen, Congress didn't mean this law to go after everyone. Otherwise, do you know another criminal organization? How about Congress? Really, how about Congress? How about the Senate? The House of Representatives, the United States Senate. You want to talk about corruption? There could be corruption. How many parties, how many incidents did you read about a congressman taking a lady of the night, prostitution or a prostitute, all the way to Vegas for a trip, and then they did something? Well, now are they under the transportation, under that act? Think about what we're trying to get. We people are on a very, very slippery slope. Are we a free country? Are we? Are we a country with laws that obtain to the rich, to the poor, to everybody? I really think we are on a very slippery slope to be a banana republic, because we are letting the government get into our business in a big way. All of those celebrities shouldn't have their names. I think the government is just outing celebrities, and that's not right. They might not want to be outed. That's up to them. I could care less what people, I could care less what happens with me. I'm so mad at this case because I have not seen the actual proof. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened to that? I don't see it. So under his case, the Diddy case right here, you are talking about 18 U.S.C. 1962, prohibited activity. They put D down, right? Which means, and this is the act. If you look up 18 U.S.C. 162, these are the codes, and then you have a little parentheses A, and then they'll have a number. Well, it says D in this one. Why does it say D? It encompasses all. It shall be lawful for any person unlawful for any person to conspire to violate any of the provisions subjected A, B, or C of this section, which is this. And all the boy, you want to talk about Congress, and you want to talk about senators, you want to talk about police organizations, you want to talk about a lot of places can be considered organized crime now. They have a head, they're doing. We are not talking about profits. Most of the crimes and most of the RICO's act is because the one person at the top is profiting, and it says that, profiting from the proceeds of the criminal activities of the people under them. Diddy is not profiting, he is paying. And if there's people who are consensual, paying is okay. Listen, if not, how do sex clubs work? How do bathhouses work? How do orgies on videos? How about porn companies? If we're going to start going into this sex, are they drugged? Or anybody comes and say, listen, they made me do a video because I'm drugged. What? They're not against P. Diddy, so people don't want it? Listen, porn sites are the number 1 through 4 top websites in the world. I guess people want to watch it. So that's their business, and I have no problem with that. Nobody should. So that's a bunch of bull. Now let's get to the sex trafficking. The provision of 18 U.S.C. 1591 is really about kids. And that is why I showed that video in the beginning of this video. It's about kids, people, most of this. And yes, trafficking of children by force, fraud, coercion. And they have, in Diddy's case, you can look at the case, A, and then it has A1, in or trafficking, interstate foreign commerce within the special maritime territory, blah, blah, blah. Entices, harbors, transport, provides, obtains, advertises, maintains, patronizes, or solicits by any means. 1, benefits financially. Diddy is not doing benefits financially. B, the punishment of an offense, undeception. The offense is affected by means of force, threat of force, fraud, coercion described in section E2. You know, holding a person's job over their head, I don't believe should happen ever, but is that really what's happening? Listen, you know, the government said that some of the people in this, there has to be more people on this case. First of all, you can't have a RICO. It has to be 2 or more. I can't find the indicted names for who's on it. They're sealed yet. How come I don't even see unindicted co-defendants like I have? So if you have an unindicted co-defendant, I get it. Now they're holding them. I'm not even seeing that. This is a very, very weird case right now to me, and it really seems like they're after P. Diddy. And again, trust me, people, I have no skin in the game, for or against. I am here to explain what's pissing me off. and it has to do with all the stuff on all the networks, YouTubers, main media, all vilifying this guy before he had his day in court. And that is wrong. Let's go to bail. I really can't understand why he is being denied bail. The 8th Amendment to the Constitution, excessive bail not be required, nor excessive fines imposed. What they mean by excessive bail is you can't set a bail that a person can't afford. Well, they didn't even set a bail. So how bad is that? Here's why you don't get bail on a normal case. This is what pisses me off. Bail can be denied if a court perceives the defendant as a flight risk. This perception could stem from the accused financial resources, ties to the community, or lack thereof, or a previous record of failing to appear in court. None of that applies to Diddy. Diddy even offered to have paid people stay at his house, not from him, government people, put an ankle bracelet on him, and log people who call, do everything. He nullified the flight risk. The 50 million is nothing. Listen, I think if anybody can put 50 million up, I mean, you should. First of all, here's why you should get bail. When you get bail, you have a better way of defending yourself with your attorney. You know, one of the key aspects of the law is to be able to help in your own defense, period. Now, can Diddy really help in his own defense, or is he really relying on some lawyers that he has to pay? I think, listen, in my own case, I studied the law. In Diddy's case, he should be able to have to meet with his attorneys or live with them if they have to, hire them and live with them and work on this case 24/7. He shouldn't be in Brooklyn, MDC, House of 10, Brooklyn. He shouldn't be there with the worry of maybe something happening to him. We know that these places don't have security like you think. How about poisoning? How about a lot of things? Now, listen, with what he put up, and if this happens, this government, we really should have all the people in this federal government, all these U.S. attorneys should be fired. The guy that's bringing this case up, I think, is out there. I really do, because they better, and I mean this, they put so much out there, his attorneys are not going to have a chance to go over all of this information in the 180 days for a speedy trial. I hope they do a speedy trial of some sort. I hope a judge comes in. Listen, the judges in New York have been getting sick and tired of the state of New York bringing these bullshit cases against organized crime or gangsters. People I know, they are really just fishing. And some of these judges are pretty good in New York, and they're saying, wait a minute, hold on. Let's apply the law to this. How credible are the people? Listen, these people who come forward, most of them want money. Every one of them are wanting money. And it's about money on this case. So you're only supposed to be denied bail by flight risk or if you're a threat to the community. And he is not a threat to the community. Nothing says, people say, but Larry, he might threaten the witnesses. You can stop that. One, the witnesses can not go there if that's what it is. The witnesses could block his number if they know it and he gets a call. There's so many ways they can nullify a threat when you have a man, even under house arrest, if that's what it is. I don't understand. Bail is a state. Bail should be a staple in the United States. Otherwise, you can be accused by any government of doing something. They can put you in jail. And that's no different than Cuba. That's no different than Russia or any communist country. China, it's no different. North Korea, whatever. And think about what I'm saying. The government accuses you of something. Are you guilty automatically? No. Let me give you another false thing that goes around the internet. Well, the government has a 98% success rate. That might be true, but you know why it's that high? Because they'll indict 50 people and 48 will rat and take a deal and 2 will win. Or 1 will win and 48, 49 get convicted. There's your 98%. So don't tell me about that. I'm so glad Diddy's fighting. I'm so glad he's got the money to fight. And I hope that doesn't change. I really do. I hope Diddy, Diddy in this case is, he's really going to be a scapegoat. So all the people, listen, if you did something at a party there, if you didn't do it illegal, if you didn't do it with an underage person, which is nobody's saying they did, if you didn't get a girl and stuff that GHB and it's called date rape drug, Rufinol back in the day when I was around, and they put it in their drinks or blah blah blah. I don't think any of these guys really need to do that. I don't think any of them want some girl to be brain dead, so to speak, when they're having sex with her. Who would? I know I wouldn't. So in that case, I'm totally okay with all the people that did whatever they did with the Diddy case so far. I just think that Diddy is being railroaded at the moment. Now, don't get me wrong. The government is the United States government. And when you see on an indictment that says the United States of America, and when you see this word, you better be scared. You know, people say, well, what do you mean, Larry? When you see this thing right here, people, when you see these words right up here, what does this say? United States District Court subject, and then here is the charge. United States of America. The United States, unlimited money, unlimited resources, and a law in their favor against you, Sean Combs. I don't care if you're a billionaire. That is intimidating, and it should scare everybody out there. We should not be living like this. This should be either state cases, because they got them, or a only way of a federal case if they're on boats and they got out of states and they weren't in the state. Everything they're doing here was in Florida, was in LA, supposedly. I'm not hearing anything in New York, but the Southern District of New York takes this case. Why? Because people complain there. Bullshit again. You know, these things really need to be brought up by attorneys, and I'm going to have an attorney on. I'm sorry I had a rant on this one, guys, but that's my belief, and I really want you guys to think about it. Please don't fall into the trap of listening to all this shit and saying, oh, he's guilty. Because that's what tainting the jury is all about as well. All right, people, I just want to say thank you for watching. Hope you understand where I'm coming from. I know I'm going to get a lot of unsubscribes, cancels, whatever happens. I had to make the point here that we are very, very dangerously on a slippery slope. And I want everybody out there to look in the mirror and think what you've done. And now, wow, can that be a federal case? You'll be surprised. Take care, everybody. Please stay safe. Make good choices. I'll see you next time.